So traditionally, by looking at the trees and reading Mother Nature, it's a sense we all had. Since we've got iPhones and all this, we can check the weather, we can check this and that, we lose those senses in our bodies. We have to try to keep those alive and pass those on so that knowledge never dies. Traditionally, because we were island people and the island was born out of the ocean, so the ocean to me is like my grandmother. This land is my mother here. The land that we live on now is my mother. So I respect both my grandmother and my mother. This little plant here is very common in your gardens. A lot of people consider it a weed. It's actually a native plant. So when you're collecting any types of foods like these, you want to get them early in the morning because as the afternoon they dry out a bit from the wind and the heat. So early morning to collect foods like this and medicines. So this one is used for belly aches and tummy aches. So you actually eat the leaves of this plant, and then also you dig up the roots of these as well, and you cut the root and crush it up and mix it with a little bit of water, and you can also drink that as well for belly aches as well. This one here is a soap bush. And what we do with the soap bush, it has a few different things that we can actually use it for. One for insect bites and also sore eyes. You can actually drink it as well for belly aches. But one of the best things we can do with it is put it into fresh water, and we actually can catch freshwater fish. So it actually deoxygenizes the water for a few minutes, and then whatever's in there will actually either get knocked out or actually float to the surface, and we can catch the fish very easily there as well. So I'll just grab a little bit of water, okay, and then thank you. So I'll just sprinkle some water on there. Okay, you can start to see it frothing up a bit now. So that froth there is what we want. All right, so once again, early in the morning, and a bit more younger plant as well will actually produce a lot more froth from this plant. So it's a bit late in the afternoon now, so a lot of these plants are actually dried out a bit. So once again, early in the mornings, best to grab these sort of plants. Okay, so just growing in here is the cousin to the flax lily we seen earlier. This one's a Diagonella, right? So it's a little bit smaller in plant, and you also can see the berries on these fruits fruiting now. So they are edible. This plant growing next to it here, this big one here, is a Lamandra plant. These ones you just pull the young leaves out of. A lot of times you can tell the young leaf because it looks softer and has a bit of a powder coating on it, and the actual end of it here is eaten. All right, so you can heat them up over the fire, which actually releases a bit more flavour from these as well. Once again, you get a few of them together, tie a few of those together, and then heat it over the fire, and that'll release a lot more flavour from this plant. These also can be used for weaving as well. In this area, coming into winter time now, we'll start to see a lot more parrot activity here, rainbow lorikeets, which we call pilin pilin. These birds are actually migrating down up from the Gold Coast area and the hinterlands, and they're migrating to our island. They do this every year around winter time. So when we start to see little flocks of these birds, so there might be little groups of 5 or 10 flying around, this is our sign that the sea mullet are about to start, and that also winter time is approaching us. So summer's finished and winter time is now starting. When we start to see large migrations of these birds in the hundreds and the thousands, this is our sign that the sea mullet are close to us. So it's time to get all your weaponry ready and that as well. Then you'll also start to see the big sea eagle, the osprey we call Merigimpa, flying around. This bird is like the law bird for us. So we can't really hunt the fish, the mullet, until we see him hunting the fish. So once you see Merigimpa hunting, that's when you can hunt the fish. So these fish, they send a group up. They're like the pilot fish. So if these fish are coming in to check out the areas, if these fish get attacked by us or any other tribal groups, the other group of fish that's waiting to come, the big herds of fish, they won't actually migrate here. They'll miss our island and go to another area. So this is our law. We wait for that bird to come to show us the sign, and then we'll go hunting. Otherwise we can wreck our whole fishing season for up to 2 months or 3 months. So we might miss the whole season and only get a small variety of these fish. So we want to wait till these fish are here, migrated here, and then we can actually start hunting them. because once they settle here, they're coming to actually lay their eggs in that. So we want to make sure that they're nice and settled before we start hunting. So Merigimpa is the lure bird. This tree here is not native to our island. We've started to eat the plants and fruits of this tree as well. So as these nuts get soft like this, you can see they become very soft, and when they fall off the tree, and then all we do is we hit it with a thing, split it open, and it resembles a bit like a coconut flesh that inside of it, but it doesn't actually taste like coconut. But once again, these are also high in proteins as well, so it's a fairly high protein diet. Coming along the foreshore here, we do come across a lot of trees like this exposing their roots. So this is a Casuarina tree. So you can see there's a bit of an indentation here. So what we'll actually do is split that tree right up the middle here, and then we'll take that section out to make a boomerang from this tree. This tree will actually stay alive using that traditional technique of cutting the boomerang out of this tree. This tree can also be used for medicines as well. So we cut the inside bark out of this tree, which has a little bit of a red resemblance right at the bottom of it. So we'll mix that with fresh water and then use that as a drink for gargling, for sore throat, and then also for scabs and things like that as well, or rashes. That'll be used for that as well. So you crush that bark with water, and yeah, that'll give us a bit of a medicine from that tree as well. So a lot of the rock on the island here is sandstone type of rock, so we can't actually make stone tools out of it. But what we can make out of these types of rocks is paint. All right, so by just rubbing it with some water, all right, you can start to see the pigments coming out of the rock. Okay, so this is red mugida. It does get a bit darker as well, and this is also used for trading. All right, so we'll use that for trading with other Aboriginal people from mainland. Red ochre was highly sought after by Aboriginal people all over Queensland. There is a bit of a story that some people thought that they got powers from this clay, but what it possibly is it's full of iron. Right, so they cover their body in this stuff, and it actually sinks into their body and gives them that little bit more extra energy. So this is a sort of a thing that does get a lot redder than this, but there's another island just out from us here called Kuchimadlo, and that means place of red rock, and that's got the really high class clay on there. So that will actually be taken into Brisbane and traded for stone tools and other types of stuff as well. This beach is a slaughter beach. A lot of times turtles will be brought in to be cut up, and also dugongs are brought here to be cut up as well. So the dugongs are hung out of this tree here, and they're diced up and butchered. So when we cut dugong up in our culture, women are not allowed to be present at the cutting up of a dugong. Recently the scientists done some tests on the stomach of the dugong, and they found that there was an airborne bug that lives in the belly of the dugong, and when you're cutting the dugong open, this airborne bug can actually attack the women's uterus and go for the women's uterus area. So possibly our old people have known this for thousands of years, and that's why the women are not allowed to be present at the cutting up of the dugong. The dolphins are also used in this time as well. So as these fish migrate to our islands, we use the dolphin buangan. So he was like a pet to us, and the old people would use him on the ocean side a lot. So as the tides would go out, these fish will come into the shallow drains, and these drains actually form a dead end. So they're hiding at the mouth of these drains because they know if the dolphins come or sharks come, they can actually hide up in the shallow. So what we do is we slap our spears on the water, and we would dig them into the sand, and this would send the signal out to buangan to call him into our area, and the dolphin knows what's happening, so he will come and chase all these fish up into the shallow waters. And then we have these nets called taro nets, which are two sticks joined together with a large net in between them. So by joining all these nets together, you're able to form one big net, and you're able to walk the fish right up into the shallows, and you'd also have the dolphin in there as well, and they're much easier to catch in the shallows. These fish will actually go right up into ankle deep. So there's so much food out there, so we always have to pay our respects, to Mother Earth and to our grandmother.